Welcome to episode 23 of Curious Conversations. This week we have a special Q&A episode we put out to followers, listeners on Instagram, a little question box, and we got 15 or so, like all in. Don't have time to do them all, but thank you to everyone who sent it in first off. Going to go through the questions, give a little shout out to the people who asked the question as well, and we'll both answer the questions. Some really good ones. First one, starting off with Alfie Fraser, listener of the podcast. He tells me every single week that he listens. So with an amazing question, because this is something we've spoke about in the past before, and it comes up quite a bit, especially when we're talking about like content or whatever to anyone. And it is, how did you overcome Glasgow Riddy culture? And then in brackets, anything out of the ordinary is gimpy, which is funny, but it's actually so true. So like how negative this like Glasgow or the West can be if you focus on it. And I've had this conversation with so many people before in terms of how do you put out content, how do you do this, like when so many people get slagged for it. So what's your thoughts on that? How did you overcome Glasgow Riddy culture?
Mate, I used to be one of those guys that used to make fun of people for doing things that weren't even embarrassing.
Yeah.
And I think everyone has been in their life, whether that's in school and stuff like that. And I think it is something that you pick up from school. I think it is something because there's people that are jealous, embarrassed to maybe be the type of person that they want to be, and young people are just trying to figure it out. And I think that's where it stems from, and then you kind of take that into your adult life. But for me, it took me a while to get over it, to be honest. When I first joined, I didn't really put out content when I was at the sanctuary or the village or anything like that at all. And I did have an issue with it because I wasn't used to speaking in front of the camera. I maybe thought that was quite embarrassing. And realistically, it's not at all. But you just feel like that. You feel like people are going to make fun of you, and I probably will be. But the way I like to think about it is like, would I swap lives with the person that's making fun of me? Probably not.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I think the more and more you do it as well, the more and more you tend to not care as much. Like I at the start, because I wasn't doing it as frequently, it would always be like, when I got to it, there would be friction.
Yeah.
But when I started to do it more, speak a little bit more, and actually be authentic to myself and do create content about the things that I wanted to make, like the content I wanted to make, it just felt right to put out. But it was only when I maybe tried to do certain things that didn't feel right to me that it was a bit harder, and I maybe thought, oh, what are people going to think about this? But yeah, it takes time to get over, but I'm completely over it now. I don't give a shit what people think.
Yeah, I'm very similar. I think it's good to kind of stay on the topic of content. I know this is a bit more of a broad question, like everything that we do probably could be taken into consideration, but content-wise, I think going out of like overcoming the Riddy culture or whatever comes from understanding first off of who it's coming from in the past, like whoever's giving out the slagging, whoever's commenting, whatever. Actually, me and Aidan are doing this TikTok challenge where we're speaking on camera every single day. I got my first bit of hate. Remember I sent you the comment? And it was like the third video in or something. It was like the third day, and it was like I can't even remember what bit of content. I just spoke whatever was on my mind that day, and someone commented three or four, whatever it was, like embarrassing faces, and I sent it to Aidan. I was like, come on. I was like, I got my first bit of hate, because it's like,
I like to comment.
Liked by creator. Yeah, but it's like, I think that I always look back on me like a year ago. See if I watch my content from a year and a half ago, I probably hit a bit already at myself like a year and a half ago, but now I genuinely do not care about it. And like, I think the people who are commenting on it, whatever, speaking about it, it holds up a mirror to who they are. Like, you always punch up, you never punch down. Like the people who are commenting or are saying that you're already probably actually deep down look up to you a little bit in a sense and want to kind of do what you're doing, but it's really showing them a mirror as to like, why am I not doing that?
Aye, I totally agree with that. I think that it's a lot of insecurity, like when people make fun of people for doing a certain thing. You see that so much. I think like people that comment on YouTube videos and stuff like that, negative shit, and,
Yeah.
and like say bad stuff about people, you're just projecting your insecurities onto this, which is kind of funny to look at. And I think that, as you say, holding up a mirror to these people and allowing them to understand that, deep down it's actually you're the person that's the problem, you're the issue, and you should probably figure it out sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
So yeah, but the biggest thing for me is just thinking that would I change lives with this person? Probably not. Would I want to be in their situation? Probably not. I'm the person that's kind of making the content I want to make and living the life I want to live. So it doesn't really bother me whatsoever anymore.
Yeah, and like when you really deep it, it's what we want to do, and it's spreading a positive message as well. It's not as if we're Andrew Tate's where we're like talking shit. I always ask myself through a piece of content, is this spreading a message positively? Because you get coaches who just like completely slag other coaches, who completely slag certain people in the fitness industry, and I hate it. I genuinely hate it. Like I see some coaches do it, and I'm just like, I'll unfollow that. So we're always trying to spread some sort of positivity throughout the message.
People are always just trying to kind of stay relevant as well when doing shit like that. They're just trying to, I don't know if it's like a kind of persona or stuff like that, but especially coaches that make fun of people or make fun of something.
Yeah.
They're like, shut up. Like people are just trying to like make sure that they are benefiting their life somewhat. And when I see that, 100% it's so distasteful.
Yeah, and I think like obviously we spoke about content there and like the negativity around content, but even to go off the back of that, obviously me and Aidan are going heavily into High Rocks just now. High Rocks gets some amount of hate on social media, like incredible amounts. Almost every single TikTok or Instagram that I see about that kind of goes, like kind of blows up a little bit and goes to a big audience, there's always hundreds of comments underneath.
Yeah.
Like
and it's always someone that can't do it at a high level. Do you know what I mean? It's always someone that's slagging it because they've probably never done one before, or they've maybe done one and they've not done great. Do you know what I mean? It's always something like that. That you tend to find when people are slagging it. So it's funny to see that.
Yeah, and again, it probably comes from that in particular. Probably. And again, it's something that's a positive thing. Like High Rocks is a very positive thing. It gets people into something. It gives people a purpose for training, for their health. So it's I massively, like even for us, like we don't particularly do it for our health as such. We do it more as like a purpose and like for something to train towards and to elevate us, not just fitness wise but as people. And like it's a hugely positive thing, but it's always going to get negative kickback towards it. So yeah, it was an amazing question. Thank you, Alfie.
That's it. I think that's how you deal with it. Just like it takes time, but definitely if you continue to push that away and do the things that you want to do for you, then it goes away.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think that a lot of life is that as well, is just persistence in doing the things that you want to do. Because at the end of the day, when you're fucking 85 and you're looking back and thinking, that guy when I was 20 was right, I'm glad I stopped doing what I wanted to do when he told me to.
I'm so glad I didn't do that. That was so embarrassing.
When that person commented, and like that, that's always, I've mentioned that in the podcast previously, but it's such a good gauge. I think I ask myself it a lot, is what would my 80-year-old self think of this? Like in this situation, what would he tell me? And it's always going to be just do what you want to do.
Totally, 100%.
So this one's from Bo Hamilton. He actually asked us what our Chinese order is. Off the back,
Chinese, I'm more Indian guy to be fair.
Off the back of it, he says, "What's one thing that you're most grateful for?"
This is a good question. I like this question a lot. For me, the things that I'm most grateful for is the small things. That like I've been really thinking about that the past few weeks. Is like my morning walk and my coffee that I get to do regularly. like I get to train, I get to move about my day freely, I get to eat the things that I want, I get to open a fridge and it's full, things like that. I just started to really think about these things, and I'm grateful for my opportunities, the trajectory of where my life's going, and also just like the struggles. Like, you don't know what good is if you don't have bad. So I think that you need to take the bad the way you take the good, and just kind of take it in your stride, and be ready for it, be excited for these things, because like I know like you're not always going to be excited for the bad things, but I think that it's being up. If you're allowed to have the good things, then you need to be able to take the bad things on and kind of with your stride, I think. So 100% the little things for me is just, I'm so grateful for this life, this job that I get to do. I'm living my dream life basically, so always thinking about that every single day.
Yeah, I think this is a good question for us to ask, because we're both probably very aware of it, because we journal on it in the morning.
Yeah.
And like, if I think about what I'm most grateful for, and what I probably write down the most in my journal in the morning, is my circle. Like, usually I'll individualise it, but like overall it's usually my circle. So Jenna, my family, my closest pals, you, the team, like they're the people that I always write down the most, because they always give me the most as well, and not even like advice or whatever as well, but just day-to-day energy.
Vibes.
Yeah, and like the most things, that's probably the thing I write down most. And also I always write down like having a healthy body, or having a mind that I'm grateful for as well. Like, the things I'm so grateful for, because in the past I didn't have them. I didn't have a particularly healthy body, I didn't have a particularly healthy mind either, in terms of kind of positive thoughts, etc. So I always reiterate how grateful I am for them. So my circle, my body, my mind is what I write down mostly.
Yeah, same mate. I note down a lot my physical capabilities, and my surroundings is massive for me. But one of the biggest ones is like my future, my trajectory, and where my life's going.
Yeah.
So,
love it.
class.
That's a great question, Bo. Thank you. And also
Nice,
for any listeners who don't particularly do that, it's such a good habit to get into and think about it. Even if it's not in a journal, even if it's just something you do as a habit when you're brushing your teeth, when you're showering, like try and tie it to something so that you get into the routine of doing it.
Yeah, because you get into the routine, like when you start to think that way, as you say, when you're brushing your teeth, like you'll start to be more present and start to think, oh, I'm so grateful for this moment, and you can actually sit with it.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
It was Jamie Alderton I got that from. I remember he says he done it for years, where he actually had a post-it note on his mirror when he was brushing his teeth every morning and night. It just says, what are 3 things you're most grateful for? So every single time when he brushed his teeth, that was the question on the mirror.
That's sick.
Yeah. So this next one is from Andy Langford. Thank you for the question, mate. How do you gauge what kind of help each client needs?
I think it's about being curious and asking the question, and kind of figuring out where that particular person needs help, and how much help they need at that certain point. But yeah, it definitely for me, straight off the bat, just hearing that question is being curious, asking the question, and then kind of try to figure out a game plan in your head on how you would approach it.
100%. We always say it's in as well, and I've always kind of tried to do this to a certain extent with coaching, is lead with curiosity always. So like, if a client isn't doing a particular thing that they said they were going to do, rather than just constantly keep saying the same thing, lead with curiosity. Why are they not actually doing what they said they would? Like, there's always a kind of deeper reason, but the help that they need always comes from good questions, always. And it's the more you coach as well, the more you realise when someone's either bullshitting you or bullshitting themselves as well. You kind of know when you ask them a question in person if they are actually being honest with themselves, or if like you need to go deeper. Because there's some people that you'll say, how are you actually doing? Like, how's things going? Say, ah, yeah, all right. And then you ask them again, and then it's like, oh, so actually, dot.
Sort of floodgates open.
Yeah. So I think it's just about prodding a little bit deeper, getting an understanding of like what that particular person needs, because everyone's needs are different, and then getting a game plan from there. Always reminding them as well from that conversation. That's something I always try and do. Is if I'm having a discovery call with someone, is note down their kind of language around what they say, because it's important to reiterate that back in the future to kind of solidify the idea in their mind.
Yeah, 100%. Totally. It's massive for like that particular member or client or whatever.
Yeah.
To be fully honest and be fully vulnerable in those situations, because if they're not, then it's going to be hard for us to then figure out what the actual issue is. So honesty from the client / member, and curiosity from the coach.
Yes. Curious conversations.
Yes.
All day, every day.
On replay.
Has your training mindset changed a lot since having a coach to keep you accountable? This one's good for both of us, but particularly you, because you are more new to coaching, getting a coach than I am.
Yeah, 100%, mate, massive. Shout out to Jacob for sending this one in. Thank you, bro. So yeah, this has probably been the biggest change. This has probably had the biggest change in my life, like having a coach. I've said it a good few times on the podcast before. Like, since I've got a coach, my mindset, my training is changed tenfold. And I feel like it's just kept me on the straight and narrow ever since having one. Like, I respect Christian, Ailey and Carly so much, and it just feels good. Like, I just want to show up every single time, and that's so important for someone who is starting with a coach, or whether that's online or face to face. You need to respect the people that you're working with, and you need to trust them. You need to trust the plan that they're putting in front of you, and that's 100% how I feel ever since I've joined RFA. So feels good, feel amazing. I've probably never felt better mentally. So yeah, it's just a gradual build, and it's just changed my life a lot.
Amazing. I'll take this in two parts, but training changed a lot since having a coach to keep me accountable. 100%. I think having training in particular, like, covered off of someone else is so valuable. Like, I've went through patches in between when I've had coaches where I've not had a program, and I've kind of loosely followed my own kind of programming, whatever. Although I've gained a lot of knowledge within training and programming over the past 5-6 years from coaching, it's still not quite what it's like from someone else programming you. I think before you had a coach, you were kind of loosely following a program. You were showing up. You were doing some of my sessions, some of Dale and Ryan's, whatever. But then when you're paying for a service, when you have a coach and they've completely covered that, it's so valuable. You literally show up. I usually do on a Sunday. I have a little look through, right, what am I doing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever, kind of plan out my week. But actually showing up on the day and being like, right, that's exercises there, rep ranges, whatever. It's so valuable for me. So
valuable. It's like, and for me, having it in front of me is there's no question I'm going to do it. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, if I've got skin in the game, I've paid for this service, and again, I respect the people that are putting it in front of me, then there is no way that I'm not getting it done. Yeah. So that's the biggest thing for me, is having that in front of you, and also just kind of having someone there to keep you accountable. Yeah.
Mindset for me as well. I've worked with 4 coaches in the past, since I first started. Maybe 5, 4 I think, since I first started, and every single one I've had some sort of a mindset shift between. This one in particular, working with Christian, Ailey and Carly, Christian is very heavily into kind of mindset and self-development as well. He covers a lot of that within his coaching, so like he kind of educated me towards certain things in terms of like identity shifts and identity change, which I was kind of knew about before, but never really took it into consideration for myself. So having a kind of mindset shift between someone who trains and someone who's becoming more of an athlete, like that was a shift that I kind of had to make, and just a simple identity shift almost has just taken my training to the next level, my nutrition, and just like overall mindset. I think having an actual shift in identity has been so powerful for me.
Yeah, me too, mate. Like that's huge for me. Is like complete personality change, and I just feel never felt so locked in.
Yeah, so
Locked in.
Yeah, identity is a very important thing. I spoke about this on my reel the other day, where I spoke about my 365 days sober, where I changed from I'm not drinking tonight to I don't drink. When you say I don't drink or I don't smoke, it actually changes your identity. It attaches it to like you deep within. So it's so much easier to change when you change that identity. I'm someone who no longer fucks at the weekend. I'm someone who X. When you identify as that person, it's your actions almost align with that.
Yeah.
Biggest lesson you've both taken since starting in sin? Thank you to Kyle Fox for this question.
Class. For me, the biggest thing for me that I've taken away since starting sin is how important having connection with people is. Like I knew it before, kinda, but honestly, mate, it really opened my eyes when first starting here, is like realising how important it is to have connections with people and get to know people on a deeper level and really kind of have that bond. Because again, that allows people to open up and be vulnerable in front of you. So yeah, having that connection with people and really getting to know them like past that kind of surface level is probably the biggest thing I've taken away.
Huge. I'm probably similar to that, but the kind of the importance of values is a huge thing. So Sin's company values really suit the coaches who are in here. We've got curiosity, character and connections. So curiosity, both me and you, like literally we speak about it on
It's literally the podcast
literally
name.
the podcast name. Like lead with curiosity, we've spoke about it literally today as well. Character, like being able to work hard and be a high performer. That's a huge thing I've taken away from Sin, is being around people who perform highly. I actually seen something the other day. It's like if you sit within 6 feet of a high performer or someone who's performing highly, you're like 90% more likely to become like more like them.
That's a huge one for me as well. Just
so,
being around people that do like strive for the best that they possibly can.
Yeah.
That's rubbed off on me so much, because my life kind of consisted of not performing at a high level because I was doing shit that I hated. So yeah, like having people around me that are working super hard on the exact same things I want to work hard at just makes it frictionless to get the shit done.
Yeah, because when people have high standards and you're rubbing shoulders with them, you're automatically going to raise to their level. Like it's natural that we mirror the people around us. Like that's what we do as humans, and that's been a huge thing for me. And then lastly, connection as well. Connection's something that as I've spoke about in the past to Ryan and Dale. Like I came from a one-to-one background where I'd kind of scaled back. Like my one-to-one, I was working a lot kind of by myself, and there was something missing. And then I came into Sin and I realised massively that connection was a big piece of that. And like getting to know people on a deeper level, pretty much exactly what you just said, how important that was for almost my like a mental shift as well. I think it's maybe comes from like a loneliness factor of like your workplace, not a home or whatever, but from your workplace. So yeah, I think having values in your personal life and your work life is massive.
Totally agree.
Okay, final question. This is from Erin McOuat. Thank you very much for your question. It's such a good question as well. Save the best till last. Maybe.
Nah.
They're all equally as good.
Yes.
What's your best advice to get out of a negative mindset loop? In brackets, self-doubt, questioning your abilities, not doing the hard stuff.
I think that last wee bit of like the not doing the hard stuff is the whole kind of reason why there is a negative mindset in the first place. You have a negative mindset because of the outlook of like kind of like what you think about. And speaking about my kind of situation, I had a negative outlook on life, but is because my negative outlook came from me not showing up for myself. That's where it came from. Like it says in brackets again, self-doubt, questioning your abilities. You're questioning your abilities because you're not showing up for, like you're not doing the thing that you said you were going to do, and you're doing that over and over and over again, and that's stacked like upon like years, months, and years, and that just kind of builds a really, really negative mindset. So you don't actually change that until you start to show up for yourself. That's me personally kind of talking about my situation. I changed when I started to do the thing I said I was going to do. When I said I was going to train, I was going to do that. When I said I was going to eat a certain amount of calories, I was going to do that. And that those small wins just slowly stack up, and then you start to look at life in a different way. You start to look at it in a more positive way, and then you start to build purpose. You start to build kind of a feeling about life that you've probably never had before, because you've probably never done, like you've never done all the things that you said you were going to do for a long period of time. You need to kind of break through that period of maybe not feeling too great, but still kind of doing the thing anyway. That's what I do believe where my negative mindset loop came from, and like all my self-doubt and stuff like that.
That's powerful, very powerful, and very eloquent.
100%.
Put that down, but it's something that you speak about a lot. Something you say that you journal a lot on.
Totally, mate. Something that I can relate to so much, because for years I didn't even notice that I had such a negative mindset, and so much self-doubt and question of myself. It's not until I actually had a big massive realisation that I was like that, until I realised that things had to actually change.
Yeah.
And by speaking to people, figuring things out, maybe getting some advice from people that have maybe been in that situation before, that allowed me to rectify a few things. And that's what Christian helped me with. Christian, Ellie and Carly helped me with that, kind of getting out of that negative mindset and really focusing on what I can do today to get me closer to where I want to be. And now I'm slowly starting to see the fruits of that, basically.
Yeah, fruits of your labour. Yeah, that's hard to come off the back of, because like I agree with everything from that. Self-doubt can only really be obliterated by doing the thing that you're doubting yourself on. Like there's no real way to go around it. Like you need to go through, and like questioning your abilities, that comes from not showing up enough as well. What Aidan's saying, something that I always go off the back of, if I am really in a kind of negative mindset loop and I feel it's been a couple of days or whatever, I will always try and go for a 24-hour reset, where I make sure that I get a good sleep, I make sure that I train, I make sure that I track my food and like eat very healthily, something that's going to fuel me for that day, and I have a deep conversation with a close like friend, Jenna, a family member. Like that always helps me as well, as having that kind of deeper conversation. Just say to whoever is closest to you, listen, I need to chat. That usually brings things to the surface. Like there's so much bouncing around your head in that day probably. Yeah. But yeah, having that almost like a perfect day as such, like a reset, just one day, usually sets me in motion to start backing that up again. I'm someone who will always kind of show up to training anyways and whatever, no matter how I feel. But there's still loads of days where I doubt myself, question my ability, not doing the hard stuff. But I think it's about like understanding that that's always going to be there.
Yeah,
like
100%.
Like no matter who you are, no matter how many times you've backed it up, it is still going to be there. But again, it's just a thought in your mind. It's not reality as well. Like you're probably making up a question of, oh, I don't know if you can actually do this, I don't know. Question it back again.
Yeah.
Why? Why not me?
I think your confidence is in the work that you're avoiding is a massive thing that I like to think about. Like, if you were to do the work and you were to do it consistently, then you get, like, it's just delayed gratification at the end of the day. And you're always going to have that kind of negative bias, like negativity bias, because of, like, humans are literally made for that. You're always going to be questioning yourself. No matter if you do the thing, there is going to be uncertainty, whether that is with things that are new or things that are like high stake type stuff. But I think that is all down to just doing the thing, and like, whatever thing that you are nervous about, just get exposed to it. It's all about experience, and I think life is just about experience at the end of the day. Just getting familiar with these things more and more and more and more. Like, I used to have a massive issue with like demoing on the gym floor, like speaking in front of like 16 people, because it was something that I'd never done before. I used to struggle speaking to one person face to face, so getting exposed to 16 at a time was pretty daunting for me to start off with, and I used to think I used to dread going to work solely for that. Like, I loved the work, but I used to dread it because I knew that I had to do that. And now I don't even think twice about it. Now I feel amazing. I want to do it, and that's because I broke through that period of kind of just feeling shitty while doing it, and maybe slipping up and messing up, but still having the hope that I'm gonna get better at this, even though there's no evidence to show that you are gonna get better at it. So yeah, it's probably that for me.
Saying
Bars.
That was deep.
Yeah.
That last question was deep.
Yeah. Thanks, Erin. I appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks, Erin. That was a class question, and let's that final question there from an anonymous user. Why
is that?
Why is it Anton so tall, dark, handsome, and his mullet's amazing? Who's that?
I don't think.
Was that Aidan?
I don't think anyone's ever said that.
I just wanted to cut from a little bit, and we're very deep there.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
Let's finish it a little bit.
Yeah, 100%.
Nah, but I think that's where you learn most of the lessons. Is, as I said, like having a deeper conversation with a loved one or a coach.
It's important. It's important to be deep as well. Like, I can go into deep conversation like that really quickly, and really, like, just like nothing's kind of happened, because I feel like I've had it for so much, and I feel like the more and more you go through these periods of like lifestyle change and trying to get to the next level and understand yourself a little bit more, you need to have these conversations, because if you don't, then it's just bottled up, and then there's confusion, and there's again curiosity on like what type of person you actually are. So yeah.
No holds barred. No
holds barred at all, bro.
Amazing.
Sick.
Next one, episode 24. We'll see you all on the next
23?
one. This is episode 23.
Is it? 23? Oh, episode, I thought you said this was episode 20.
No, this is episode 23. I said I'll see you in episode 24.
That's not bad.
Yeah, see you on the next one. Thank you for listening. Thank you to everyone who sent in questions as well. Couldn't obviously get through them all, or else we would have been here forever. But we're going to do this again. We'll do this every probably 10 episodes or so, because they are so good, so valuable, and it allows us to also conversate with the audience, whoever is listening.
I enjoy these ones a lot. Definitely 100% going to be doing this again.
Amazing. See you all in the next one.
See you all in the next.